Everything you think you know about poverty is basically wrong. The left often says, oh, we should pity the poor and we should help them to make better decisions. And then the right says, well, poverty, that's just a lack of character. I think it's really important to acknowledge that the real experts on the poor's lives are the poor themselves. We should get rid of that whole industry of paternalistic bureaucrats when we can simply hand over their salaries to the poor they're supposed to help. People worry that, oh, they'll spend it all on drugs or on alcohol, blah, blah, blah. I look at the scientific research, it's just not true. Actually, if you eradicate poverty, the amount of money people spend on drugs or alcohol goes down. So it's completely the other way around. There was this period in British history, you had all the great bands, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, you name it. What was going on there? If you look at those bands, they had one thing in common, at least in the beginning. They were all on welfare. You know, they were all on the dole. And back then, it was possible for young musicians to mess around, to tinker, to create, etc. When we lift people out of poverty, what you actually get is an explosion of energy, ambition, and creativity. This is what the science finds time and time again. The people who do the most valuable work, the teachers, the cleaners, the nurses, we pay them the least. Those who don't do very valuable work, or actually even destructive work, like the lawyers, the consultants, or the bankers, we pay them a lot. What happens if different professions go on strike? Garbage collectors in New York, 1968, they go on strike and it's a disaster. After 6 days, the city pretty much breaks down. We can't do without them. And then I compare it to another strike, the only strike of bankers that I know of. This was in Ireland, 1970, and that strike lasted for 6 months. And after 6 months, the bankers came back and said, all right, we'll get back to work. So no one noticed. I think that a universal basic income will be a game changer. The whole idea of completely eradicating poverty with a monthly, completely unconditional cash grant, people can always fall back on it. It will give you much more bargaining power, and it gives you the ability to say no to a job you don't want to do. This means that we'll move towards an economy in which the wages will much better reflect the social value of the jobs that we do. An economy in which the cleaners may even earn more than the bankers. And to be honest, I'd like to live in that economy. The day a robot takes your job should be the best day of your life. Jobs are for robots, life is for people. This is meant to be this way. It's the whole purpose of progress and of capitalism. Now the question is, of course, how do we make sure everyone benefits? Nowadays, it seems as if the owners of the robots, the capitalists, that they're the only ones that are benefiting. We need to remember here that technology is not destiny. In the end, what really matters are the ideas and the social political institutions that make sure that we all benefit. I'm a bit tired of all those Silicon Valley trend watchers and prophets who say that the technology will solve all our problems. Well, actually, in the 1960s, they also predicted that we would be having a 20-hour or 15-hour work week now. But what I see happening is that there are millions of people wasting their time in completely useless jobs. So we should never underestimate capitalism's ability to come up with new bullshit jobs. The trick here is to change our thinking. You know, the obstacle is not in economics, it's not technological, but it's ideological. A lot of people these days believe that we live in a time of incredible innovation and progress. But you know, as a historian, I like to zoom out. And actually, it's a bit disappointing, to be honest. If you read the science fiction from the 70s, they predicted that we would be on Mars already and we should have these flying cars. Where are they? I think a big reason is that so many smart people are wasting their time. We've got brilliant mathematicians working in Silicon Valley trying to find out how we can click on as much ads as possible. We've got brilliant engineers who move to Wall Street, coming up with new destructive financial products. So there's an incredible waste of human talent going on. We should first remember that most of the really big breakthrough innovations didn't start with the market, but with government. I know that's a dirty word, but let's look at one of our favorite innovations, the iPhone. Every single piece of fundamental technology in this thing, voice recognition technology, the battery, the internet, everything that makes it a smartphone instead of a stupid phone was invented by researchers on the government payroll. Apple made a great product out of that, but Apple did not make it possible. In the end, this is because of huge, large-scale innovation financed by governments. So let's remember that paying taxes and that stuff, that's really how we create civilization and progress. Real change never starts in the center. You know, it never starts with mainstream journalists or mainstream politicians. It always starts at the fringes, you know, with the people who are first dismissed as crazy and ridiculous and unreasonable and irresponsible. What I'm really excited about is that we see an awakening of young people, I'm really excited about the rise of Bernie Sanders or Jeremy Corbyn in the UK. Let's zoom in on the Corbyn phenomenon. For years and years, all the mainstream journalists and pundits have been saying, oh, Labour should not become too radical because otherwise it's not electable. We can't win elections anymore. And then this Corbyn guy came along and everyone said, oh, he's crazy. That's an old communist from the 70s. That will never work out. Oh, and wait, he did better than any other Labour leader since 1946. All this time, the problem was not that Labour was too radical. It was not radical enough. So here again, we need this imagination. We need these new ideas. Every milestone of civilization was once a utopian fantasy. The end of slavery, democracy, equal rights for men and women. So we can do this again. We just need to come up with these new utopian, crazy, radical visions and then fight for them.